When I started covering the games based on TV shows way back now, in 2018, the nostalgia was built into me. Even if I didn't watch a programme, I was at least sort of aware of it. But not with this one. And you know what? It's not much of a surprise, as the TV show Cobra wasn't actually shown in the UK in the 1980s. It's a shame, because I would have been down for a show about a fella with a bad haircut and a gun for an arm. I've only achieved one of those things, and it's the one that doesn't involve me accidentally immolating a cheek when scratching my bum. So, my predominantly UK audience, should we find out what the hell this Cobra business is about? Cobra started out as a manga in 1978, written and illustrated by the now sadly passed Buichi Terasawa. It told the story of a 9-to-5 office worker called Johnson. A man with terrible blonde hair called Johnson. I can't think where I've seen that before. Johnson discovered that his secret fantasy life is actually real, and he is actually the Cobra, an infamous space pirate who surgically altered his face and erased his memories to escape the villainous pirate guild. Reunited with his android partner Lady Armoroid, Cobra uses his cybernetic psycho gun to fight intergalactic crime. I mean, that's certainly a plot, isn't it? It was turned into a fair few animes, starting with Space Adventure Cobra, the movie, in 1982. In the English-speaking West, we wouldn't actually see that movie until the rise of manga entertainment in 1995, where they put any old Japanese tut out in that period. As well as Space Cobra, on which this game was based, there have been numerous OVAs since its release, with another French-produced series coming out in the upcoming year of 2027. And it's to the French that we owe this game's existence. You see, the 1982 to 1983 series was localised for the French market, and it was called Space Cobra. It was incredibly popular in the Gallic part of Europe after its release in the 1980s, and it's genuinely a surprise that the UK didn't get a look in, given the popularity of other Japanese animated shows like Battle of the Planets, Dogtanian and Mysterious Cities of Gold. But France did, with Cobra being originally broadcast on Canal Plus in 1985. It ran for 31 episodes. The theme for the French version was written by Paul Pervasson, who you probably don't know from that name, but you might actually know him as Eurotrash presenter Antoine Decaune. So, onto the game, or games technically. You see, there's been an awful lot of Cobra games. There were 2 Japan-only LCD games that predated the TV show. There were 2 games on the PC Engine, the second of which also came out on the Mega CD. There were 3 PlayStation games published by Sony, a Typing of the Dead effort for the PC, an arcade game by Namco as late as 2005, a cameo in a Japanese DS game by Nintendo, a ton of pachinko and mobile phone games, and a multi-format game on the latest gen that came out in 2025 called Space Adventure Cobra, The Awakening. I probably should know this franchise exists, there's plenty of it about. I'm a Luddite. But today we're going to eschew all of those games and talk about one that came quite early on in the existence of Cobra. We're going to have a look at the game centred around its French incarnation by a French software house called Logiciel. It's strongly suspected that Logiciel did not get the permission to release this Amstrad, CPC and IBM title anywhere but France. This is because the owners of the Cobra franchise, Tokyo Movie Shinsha, probably didn't give the license to them in the first place. Instead, it's thought that Logiciel may have approached Canal Plus's parent company, Antenne 2, instead. Logiciel themselves were around a good chunk of time, making a game about the French original version of Channel 4's Countdown, releasing computer games on all the 8 and 16-bit formats, along with titles on the NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Gear, Mega Drive, and even the PC Engine CD. This game, just called Cobra, is a multi-directional isometric exploration game. The villainous Salamander has captured Cobra's woman, and it's up to the red-clad bruiser to take to his size 9s with his loyal and very saucy, especially with the way she walks, android Armanoid, known as Lady in the Japanese version. Together, they've got to bring that swine down. He paces around Lost City, and on his way he encounters hundreds of robotic goons, disposing of them with his Delta Ray, aka the Psycho Gun. Armanoid must escort Cobra about. If she's off the screen, he can no longer shoot, so make sure she's with you as you scrape the environment for clues on Salamander's whereabouts. You can use your robot lady as a shield too, especially useful in densely populated rooms full of baddies wanting to pump laser beams into your little bot. There are statues that rise and sink around the environment that can be approached to restore some health. However, not all of them do so. In fact, some actually deplete your health, so be very careful there. Cobra also has some grenades that should get you out of a sticky wicket. It kind of reminds me of Gauntlet. The enemies are all over the place, they're incessant, but you're actually kind of a bullet sponge too. You'll take loads of hits before you're pushing up the daisies. Unlike Gauntlet though, it's not very good. It's really bland. The buddy mechanic with Armanoid is a great deal more irritating than exciting. It feels annoying to kind of have to escort her everywhere. It doesn't help much that the main character controls really slowly. Cobra has the turning circle of Dan Byrne piloting a oil tanker in custard. The graphics on both the PC and the Amstrad are also exceptionally bland, with nothing really going on in the backgrounds, and it just feels like a rather hollow experience. It's small and easy too, easily polish-offable in under 20 minutes. And what about the sequel though, the Atari ST exclusive Cobra 2? Well, it's exactly the same. There's no difference between this and the other two, except for the graphics. It's not a sequel, it's more of a rebranding. Weird to call it Cobra 2 though. It probably doesn't help that I have zero nostalgic attachment to the license, of course, but even with that I was left very underwhelmed by it. Is it possible to be just whelmed? Not over or underwhelmed, but merely right in the middle, just whelmed? I don't know, but that's got nothing to do with this game. All I'm trying to do is waffle on because I've got nothing more to say about this game. It's just very vapid and empty. It's going to be a really short review because I've got nothing more to say about it. And because I've got nothing more to say about it, I'm just going to end the review here.